On a cold December night in 1773, when winter winds swept across the harbor of Boston, something happened that would shake an empire and spark a revolution that changed the world. It started with tea, simple tea, but ended with the birth of a nation. Imagine standing on that harbor edge as shadows moved silently through the narrow streets. Men disguised as Mohawk warriors, hearts pounding, carrying a fury years in the making. This was not just rebellion. It was a message to the most powerful empire on earth. And that message was clear: enough. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe right now to stay with us on more historical journeys like this one. Our story begins years before that night. The American colonies were growing fast, millions of people farming, trading, building lives. But thousands of miles away in London, the British Empire tightened its grip. They needed money, and they believed the colonies should pay. Tax after tax came down like heavy chains. The Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, the Townshend Acts. The colonists protested, boycotted, and demanded something simple: representation. But the British Parliament refused. "You are subjects," they said. "You will obey." Tension grew like a storm. Every law Britain passed showed how little they understood the people of the colonies. America was no longer a land filled only with British subjects. It was becoming something else. A society that valued its own voice, and there was no place where that voice was louder than Boston. Boston became the center of resistance. British soldiers filled the streets, watching every move, and the people pushed back. Men like Samuel Adams, Paul Revere, and John Hancock led meetings, protests, and secret groups. One such group was the Sons of Liberty, a network of rebels determined to oppose British rule at any cost. But the final spark came from an unexpected place: tea. Britain controlled tea imports through the powerful East India Company. But the company was failing, and Parliament stepped in with a new plan, the Tea Act. It allowed the company to sell tea in the colonies at a lower price, undercutting local merchants and giving Britain total control. It was not the cost of tea that angered the colonists. It was the principle. If Britain could force this on them, what could they not force? The people of Boston answered clearly: "We will not unload the tea." Weeks passed. 3 ships loaded with British tea sat in Boston Harbor: the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, the Beaver. Their presence was like an open wound. Crowds gathered daily, demanding the ships return to England. But the governor of Massachusetts, Thomas Hutchinson, refused. Under British law, if the tea was not unloaded within 20 days, it could be seized by force. The deadline approached. December 16, 1773, thousands gathered in the Old South Meeting House. Every corner filled with men and women waiting for a decision. Samuel Adams rose to speak. His voice carried through the hall. The words he delivered have echoed through history. "This meeting can do nothing more to save the country." It was the moment. Outside, a war cry split the frozen air. Dozens of men disguised themselves as Mohawk warriors, not to blame indigenous people, but to protect their identities. With soot-darkened faces and rough cloaks, they marched through Boston streets with purpose. They said nothing. They looked at no one. The people parted, watching history move before them. They were ordinary men, craftsmen, laborers, fathers, but that night they became symbols. At the harbor, the ships rested quietly, unaware of the storm coming. The men boarded swiftly. British captains watched, but could not stop them. No violence, no weapons fired, only determination. They split into teams. Some broke open crates. Some dumped them. Some kept watch. As each wooden chest hit the frozen water, tea leaves spilled into the sea like dark clouds. The harbor filled with the scent of fresh tea that would never be brewed. More than 340 chests destroyed. The night was cold, but the fire burning in their hearts was hotter than any flame. While the work continued, crowds stood on the docks in silence. They understood the danger. Every man participating risked execution, but they believed freedom was worth the price. And this act, this daring, rebellious, stunning act, would echo all the way to London. Before we go deeper, remember to hit the subscribe button to support more powerful history stories like this. News of the Boston Tea Party reached Britain quickly. The reaction was fury. Parliament called it an insult, a crime, an act of treason. King George III declared that America must be punished. What came next changed everything. The British passed the coercive acts known in America as the Intolerable Acts. They closed Boston Harbor until the destroyed tea was paid for. They ended the colonies' self-government. They allowed British soldiers to be housed in private homes. They tightened control in every possible way. Britain thought they could crush the rebellion. They were wrong. Instead, the colonies united. Leaders from every colony gathered for the First Continental Congress. They agreed to support Boston. They organized defenses. They prepared for war. And in the minds of many, the idea of independence, once unthinkable, began to take shape. The Boston Tea Party had sparked something far greater than anger. It sparked identity. It told the world that the American colonies would not bow to tyranny. It inspired ordinary people to imagine a country of their own, a nation built on liberty, representation, and self-rule. The story of that night is not just about tea. It is about transformation, a colony becoming a nation, citizens becoming revolutionaries, a spark becoming a fire. Over the next years, battles would erupt, blood would be shed, lives would be lost. But America did not give up, and when the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776, its spirit could be traced back to that night on the harbor, when men dumped tea into the sea to tell the world that freedom mattered. Historians still debate the full consequences of the Boston Tea Party, but one thing is clear. It stands as one of the most powerful moments of peaceful protest in human history. No one was killed. No building was burned. No soldier was attacked. The message was the weapon, and the world heard it. Today, when people talk about standing up to injustice, the Boston Tea Party remains a symbol, a reminder that great change often begins with ordinary people who refuse to stay silent. They were not perfect men. They were not superheroes. They were citizens who believed that they deserved a voice. Imagine the scene one last time. The moon hanging above the harbor, the crunch of snow under boots, the sound of wooden chests breaking, the ripple of tea spilling into dark water, and the silent agreement among those men that they were doing something that might cost them everything but might give future generations freedom. It is easy to forget that revolutions do not start with armies. They start with moments, with decisions, with people willing to take risks for a better tomorrow. The Boston Tea Party was one such moment, a turning point in history. Even centuries later, the world still remembers that night because it teaches us something timeless, that freedom often demands courage, unity, and sacrifice. That governments must listen to the governed, that no empire is too large to be challenged, and that sometimes one night can change the destiny of an entire continent. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please subscribe now for more powerful stories from America, the UK, Canada, Australia, and beyond. Like, comment, and share this video to support the channel. And tell us in the comments, what moment in history should we uncover next?